91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative. Brought to you by the Student Activity Fee here at Buffalo State College. This is All Talk Monday, WBNY's public affairs programming that airs Monday mornings till midnight. The views expressed in all the various All Talk Monday shows are not necessarily those of WBNY, the United Students Government at Buffalo State, or Buffalo State itself. Due to the opinionated nature of these programs, listener discretion is highly advised. If you have any questions or comments about All Talk Monday, you can direct them to WBNY's All Talk Monday, 1300 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York 14222. For more information, check out our website at wbny.buffalostate.edu. Or you may give us a call at the station at 716-878-5104 and take part in all the various All Talk Monday shows.
For too many parents, a baby's first steps aren't just a milestone, they're a miracle, made possible by volunteers like you who walk in March for Babies. The money you raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org to take the steps that help make milestones and even miracles possible for thousands of families. Who will you march for?
The USG Dental Clinic is located in the Weigel Health Center on the Buffalo State campus and provide dental services that include dental exams, bite wing x-rays, and dental cleanings. Undergrad and grad students as well as staff can be seen for a small fee. The dental clinic is open Monday through Thursday when classes are in session, so call 878-6716 or stop by to make an appointment.
91.3 FM has the reputation of not playing crappy commercial music. Now, here's an example of a crappy commercial.
Are you depressed? Are you sad? Do you have little to no Chad Kruger in a frame in your life? Come on down to 1000 Nickelback Lane and visit Kosmowski Frames. Kosmowski, what? We'll help you get over your low self-esteem, parents' divorce, erection lasting longer than 4 hours, dead cat, missing brother, or senile grandma. Buy a framed photograph of Chad Kruger holding a photograph. Say what? A photograph, only $10. Sold at Kosmowski Frames. We guarantee every time you look at it, it'll make you laugh.
WBOI will not play top 40 music, especially Nickelback. So, here's some non-top 40 music.
Hey, you're listening to 91.3 WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982, brought to you by the Buffalo State College Student Activity Fee. It is September 28th, and it is 5:08. Welcome to the third episode of Empower Hour with your hosts, myself, Jessica, Kayla, and Farah. Today's guest is our third Fierce Female of the Week. She works here at Buffalo State. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Shannon Hawkwater, and I teach in the Health, Nutrition, and Dietetics Department. I teach a couple classes. I teach exercise principles and kinesiology, and I also teach out of athletics. So I teach the kickboxing and spinning classes here on campus.
How are you? How long have you been here at Buffalo State?
2 years.
Oh, how do you like it?
I like it a lot. It was a very warm, welcoming environment when I came here.
When you came here?
And when I did come here.
And still?
And still.
Farah, would you like to ask us a couple questions?
Yeah. So basically, I'm just like recently I've become like a mini addict of health because I'm trying to get back on the right track with my health. So what type of advice do you give for college students who don't have a lot of time? Well, they think they don't have a lot of time to work out. What can you say about time management and working out in their dorms or just trying to fit it in the schedule?
Well, I have a lot to say about that, actually. First of all, there is always time to work out. You always make time. You can do it simply like off a chair in your dorm room, or you can head over to Houston Gym. Really, you need about 20 minutes to have an effective workout. You could do like 4 minutes of Tabata, a little bit of resistance work. You could do a little bit of endurance work, but you really only need 20 minutes to get a really good workout. And in that 20 minutes, you can probably burn at least 200 calories. Plus, you get the endorphin bonus, which kind of makes you feel good and feels like you could conquer the world.
Okay. What are some differences that you see within men's health and women's health?
Well, men's health in general, men generally don't stick to any one specific diet. Women try and then fall off and then screw up their whole day and never go back to it. Men, if they miss up a meal, they'll generally miss up the one meal. and then go right back on the diet. And in terms of in the gym, what we see a big difference in between male and female is men tend to be stronger and have more powerful and more force, but thus they have less agility, so the ability to move side to side, change direction quickly with a stimulus. Women tend to be smaller. Sometimes they can be quicker if trained, but they tend to be more agile.
Okay. So what would you say are like the top issues that females deal with when it comes to health?
Female health, for sure, number one is diet and stress, which then kind of encompasses mental health. So women in general, when they decide to go on a diet, they end up cutting really good things out and not the really bad things out. So calcium and protein, for sure, are women's big problems. Definitely need to get more calcium, more protein, but things like magnesium, potassium, and those sorts of things also need to be included into the diet.
What do you think are the best meals that have those vitamins?
Anything that's green and leafy. Anything that comes from the ground generally has a lot more than you think it does. So it consists of more than just water. Potassium, magnesium, calcium, things like romaine lettuce, any sorts of roughage, kale, those all have calcium in it. It's a secret ingredient that nobody seems to know about. Spinach as well.
I like spinach. I love spinach. Are you big on like making smoothies with vegetables?
With fruits and vegetables, sure. I'm big on smoothies. Just don't add too much extra sugar. So find your naturally sweet stuff and use that. You can use a combination of things.
Just to make sure you have a balance.
For sure.
You don't want to be having all vegetables. I mean, all fruit and then like a teaspoon of vegetables.
Correct. We want to strive for that balance.
What kind of smoothies do you make, like for your everyday or maybe every other day?
I'm a big fan of strawberries. So we just came from strawberry season, so that was super helpful because they were cheap and plentiful. So I'm a vanilla yogurt kind of girl. I try and stay away from the external protein stuff because I just don't like it. But I'm like a vanilla yogurt, water, ice, a little bit of milk if you need it, and your fruit of choice. So strawberry mango, strawberry papaya, strawberry kiwi, those were all real popular this summer. And watermelon and cucumber was also very popular.
Oh, you brought up your spinning classes and your kickboxing classes. How many calories do you how many calories are burned within like the sessions that you teach?
That's a really good question. Numbers are probably a little higher than you think. So if you are giving a good effort in your spinning class, you're probably burning between 600 and 1,200 calories. So it kind of depends on the ride the instructor chooses, but it's a lot more calories than you think. And kickboxing just the same, maybe not quite upwards of 800, but kickboxing is a whole body workout, and spin, it's pretty much lower body and cardiovascular endurance workout. So I would say your average is between 600 and 800 for any class.
And how long is the class?
Kickboxing classes are 45 minutes and spin are 60.
Wow. I took one of your spinning classes. I don't know if I was on like a messed up bike, but it was really tough. I'm glad I stayed the whole time though. Because there were a few times where my thighs were just like, oh, I have to sit down.
The spinning is intense. Remember, it's all leg driven. So if you stop spinning with your legs, the bike's going to stop moving. So you don't get a break. Think about being on a spin bike outside. Right. If you're on your regular bike and you stop pedaling, you just fall off.
Yeah.
So the same principle kind of acts inside. Yes, you have to strive to achieve the right amount of resistance for sure on a spinning bike. They can be a little tricky.
I think my biggest problem when I'm trying to diet or eat right is I don't ever eat enough.
That's another problem. So undertaking in your calories. So things like MyFitnessPal and those have literally made people very obsessive about their calories, and they always want more bonus calories to take on the weekend and not so many to take in during the week so that they can have their good weekend. The problem with that is, A, they're still taking them in, period. B, it's generally in a bad way because it's generally alcohol or sweets or something like that. But in overall, when we evaluate female athletes, they come in underneath. So they're end up cutting some really important things. Number one is carbohydrates. So the average American collegiate athlete has a diet of about 40% carbohydrates. And that doesn't allow, if you're practicing every day, for recovery within 24 hours. So what we do is we request that they up that to about 60% carbohydrates when you're playing intense every day. And the same thing goes. If you're just, an average worker-outer, but you like intense workouts and you do them 5 or 7 days a week, you should also increase just to maintain your body weight. And your body composition too, so you don't start burning protein or fat as protein. You should also increase your carbohydrate intake, which is kind of contrary to what everybody hears on TV and on the radio. But if you really want to promote recovery and thus muscle growth, it's essential.
I don't like bread. I don't like chips. I hate potatoes.
Well, lucky you. I mean, everybody else
I love potatoes.
seems to love that stuff.
Unless all of those things are pizza.
Well, pizza now, if you like the crust kind of style of pizza, I have some secrets for you.
I've been wanting to try this cauliflower crust.
Cauliflower crust?
Yes.
If you like the taste of cauliflower, you can handle it. I'm not really a cauliflower girl.
You should try cauliflower with Marzetti's dill dip.
Oh, I bet you that
I don't
does
think I
taste
ever had.
I could go through a whole head of cauliflower.
Wow.
It's
All right.
really bad.
I don't think I ever had.
I'm not sure if it's like the taste or the sight of it. I just can't quite get it down.
It just looks like a white broccoli. Does it taste like white broccoli?
No.
I mean broccoli at all?
Not really.
I've never had it. I think I'll try it.
Well, you should try it. We should all try it. We should all aim to be healthy like that. But if you like crackers or stuff, you can use cracker crust, because a lot of times you can buy reduced calorie, reduced fat, and it truly is reduced calorie, reduced fat, because there's not much in a cracker. You can use crackers to build your crust and stuff like that.
When I'm truly eating good, I cut out all of that stuff. But then when I start it back up,
it all comes back.
I've been eating pizza every day now.
That's the thing. So 2 things in there do that for you. It's the sugar content. So whether it's glucose, fructose, sucrose, any of those oses are all sugar, and they're all pretty much high fructose corn syrup.
Aren't they
based.
chemicals?
They are all chemicals. Glucose is the only straight up thing that you want to take in. Unfortunately, all those other things have a lot of prepackaged foods and stuff like that. So it takes your body extra energy to break them down. But once they're broken down, a lot of times they aren't used because you stopped exercising at that point. So they're stored as fat, which is unfortunate.
So what would you say is the average amount of meals a student or anyone should intake during the day?
That's a really great question, because if you're expecting me to say 3, I'm not.
I didn't expect that.
5 or 6?
Yeah, 5,
Between 4 and 6 is average. So eating ideally roughly every 4 hours and at about 400 calories. So what that does is prohibits your metabolism from shutting down completely. When your metabolism shuts down completely, it doesn't allow your body to digest anything, so it ends up just being sitting there. Since your body doesn't like anything to just sit, it ends up storing things as fat.
Okay, I know it's a problem with kids on dorms where it's they don't have the right budget to eat that many times a day, or if they do have the meal plan, maybe it runs out too early.
Mm-hmm.
What are some meals that will last longer, or how can I say it? Alternatives throughout the day, making Ziploc baggies with vegetables or crackers or...
For sure. Portion control of everything is wonderful. So on Sundays, I make my meals for all week and stick them in either Ziploc bags or Tupperware, so that it's right there and it's ready for me to go, because I go from my studio to here, back to my studio, and I get home till 10 o'clock at night after I leave my house at 6 a.m. I don't want to do anything during the week besides what I have to do.
I'm so jealous of people like you.
I know, I can't get my life together that well.
People like me, we don't sleep. That's for sure. So everything's pre-made. So your secret ingredient there is something like hummus or peanut butter that has a lot of protein, and anything you can dip in it. So carrots, celery, cauliflower, if you like cauliflower, broccoli, even a decent portion of crackers. So not the whole box, but a decent portion. So a decent portion of anything that contains carbohydrates is roughly what you can fit in a handful. And remember, 400 calories, that goes down real fast. You know what I mean? Unless you're just eating something like carrots, which has 20 to 40 calories per serving.
I know for swimmers, like, it's easier for them to burn calories because they're doing a lot of aerobics. What other sports allows you to burn a lot of the same amount of calories?
Well, virtually anything on the collegiate level will do that for you. Swimming especially, because if you don't swim, you will sink, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you always need to tread water, which means you're always burning calories. Just the calorie expenditure and the calorie usage or metabolism in swimmers is a little bit different because they're just constantly being used. But if you think of like a midfielder, like a soccer midfielder, a lacrosse midfielder, or an offensive line for the football team, they are pretty much go, stop, right? So it's go to achieve the ball, obtain the ball, and get rid of the ball, pass it off to your teammate. So they have a lot of go, stop, which means they're using different aerobic systems. They're actually working anaerobically, not aerobically. Sprinters are working anaerobically, so they don't use oxygen pretty much. They use everything that's stored versus using oxygen to produce things like glucose to use, ATP.
Okay, I want to talk more about like different foods now. I've learned that avocados are an exotic fruit. Did you know
Yes, you have learned about avocados. Yes, that commercial is wonderful, isn't it?
that? Oh, I didn't get it from the commercial. I don't know why, but when I went to the store on Grant, I believe it's Gurko and Sons, they have like a lot of they have a lot of vegetables like for really cheap, and I bought like 3 and mixing like avocado, tuna, eggs. It's like my new health snack.
Yes, so avocado is what we refer to as a superfood because it has the right amount of calories, it's the right size, and it has the right amount of the right kind of fats. So there's no trans fats in that, just no bad fats.
I used to throw them in my smoothies because I actually can't stand them.
Yeah, I can't stand them either. I'm not going to lie. I don't like them much at all. So if you could disguise their taste, you might be good. But I've seen people put avocado on everything, on salads, in sandwiches. Something as simple as grilled cheese, throw avocado on there and makes it just that much healthier. Those types of things.
That's cool.
It pairs good with tomato.
I'm all about hiding tofu in my food.
Tofu, and how that is a great thing.
I love tofu.
I've never had it.
You're vegetarians, that's a great option, and that is like power packed with protein. So if you find you're not getting a lot of protein in your diet because you're not eating chicken or turkey or something like that, because maybe you don't eat meat, that's a wonderful way to get it in.
And it's super easy to hide behind foods because you don't taste it.
Correct. And you can even like sneak it in like a cookie batter or a brownie batter.
Really?
Wow.
My family likes tuna casserole, and I think when I was like 13, I had this poll with them. I'm like, I bet I can get every single one of you to eat tofu. And they're like, no. So when my mom made, my mom was okay with it. So when my mom made tuna casserole again, I snuck tofu in it, and it just kind of looked like the tuna.
Tuna,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they all ate it, and they had more than one helping, and I'm just like, yeah!
Tofu is really just a texture thing for some people. They can't quite get past the texture, but if you can get past the texture, it's awesome. It's like hummus. Some people look at it like, oh my god, I can't eat that, but when you eat it, it doesn't taste as bad as it looks, I think.
Or avocado.
Or avocado. Yeah, that's another rough one.
It's just mushy, and it's not like what fruit. Ugh.
Yeah, it's hard to put in a category.
I didn't know what it was before. I just thought it was a food. I didn't put it in the vegetable category or the fruit category. So when I learned it was a fruit, I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
I also read that if you use some of it, it can be used as butter.
Yes, there's avocado butter. Yes.
Yeah.
So some people kind of like melt it down, dehydrate it, and use it as butter.
Yeah.
Which is another much healthier option than simply using butter from like the dairy counter at Wegmans.
Which brings up coconut oil.
Coconut oil.
You can use that for everything.
You can do that. You can do everything with that. You can cook with that. You can wear that. You can put that in your hair. That is multifunctional.
It can be used instead of triple antibiotic ointment.
It
Really?
sure can. Yeah.
What does it do to the body?
So coconut oil has one of three effects. It is a calming, so if you have like irritation or something, you can put that on there. It should help with that. It is a natural steroid, so if you have swelling in some area, you can put that down on that, but it's also a natural antibiotic. Garlic is also a natural antibiotic. So if you mix garlic and olive oil, that'll clear you of a lot of things too.
Okay, so like when like you're getting sick, it's fine to put that on? Oh, wow.
Or coconut oil, like if you have a red nose, because you've been blowing your nose a lot, that should help with that too.
Speaking of like being sick and everything, what do you think about the flu shot? Do you think it's okay to get? Because some are opposed towards it because they think it gets them sicker.
Yes, okay. So us in the health profession, we don't have a common agreement on the flu shots. The flu shot, I think, is beneficial for the advanced age population or the very young or for some reason the immunocompromised. Okay. I think the average person doesn't receive much benefit because these vaccines are made off estimated projections from last year's flu strain and then are also produced at the end of last year's flu season in estimates of what will happen this season. The problem is the flu is live and it mutates just like anything else. So we have wonderful computer programs that will predict its path to what its new DNA pattern will be, but we're never really sure. And a lot of the times, by the time we administer those flu shots that were made at the end of last flu season and to this year's flu season population, let's call it, that strain is already mutated and gone. So what you're receiving is a live attenuated strain of flu that doesn't exist any longer. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be vaccinated for something that isn't in existence any longer.
Right, because everything you said was just like, huh?
Yeah.
Based off of last year's.
So again, it is a live attenuated virus, so it will provide a slight bit of immunity, but no more immunity than a healthy person would get. So what happens with the flu is normally you are run down and you have the sniffles or something, and then because your immune system is already compromised, then you come in contact with the flu, and that's when you get flu symptoms. Otherwise, we come in the flu with every day, but our body's just natural defense system is stronger than the flu itself, so it never really bugs us.
We actually have a caller. Are you on air?
I am on air. I just want to ask you about probiotics and prebiotics. What's your opinion on that? Would you use them? The prebiotics try to jumpstart your body to digest the food, and the probiotics to actually help with the good bacteria in your stomach digest food. Get rid of the bad bacteria.
I would prescribe that. However, just like anything else, too much of a good thing is not wonderful. So if you're looking to jumpstart a diet per se or something like that, getting things moving is probably a good idea. However, you had better been able to follow up with the appropriate diet that will also do that for you. Probiotics should be in your diet daily. However, they often come in the form of yogurt and stuff like that. So just watch how much you're taking in sugar-wise with that as well.
What about the 20 billion culture pill?
I've taken those.
Oh, the 20 billion culture pills. Yes, those. No, I would say that's a little bit of overkill. I would have to look at your exact product that you're taking. But in general, that stuff has a lot of fluff in there that you really just don't need.
Okay.
It's a marketing ploy to get you to spend more money. I'm sorry.
I just wondered what's your opinion on that. But thank you for taking my call.
Of course, sure thing.
Thanks for calling.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
What advice would you give for people who don't or can't take certain foods for vitamins?
Okay, so if you're not taking them in your diet, whether you have a pre-existing condition like celiac or another existing condition like that doesn't allow you to take something in, the best way is to try and find it somewhere else in the diet. And I know that sounds funny and like I'm going around the question, but I'm actually really addressing it. So if you need, let's say calcium, but you can't eat something that has calcium in it and you don't like milk, the best way is to go a different route and find something that you can eat with calcium in it. Sometimes that involves thinking out of the box a little bit, which enter the more popular things these days, like kale chips and dehydrated anything. So remember, kale, romaine lettuce, any of your roughages, spinach, those all also have calcium. It's always best to take it in your diet versus taking a supplement for it, because it's just like shampoo in your hair. You buy the really expensive shampoo, and your hair looks great and it feels great, but then what happens after 24 hours? It's gone. You have to wash your hair again, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing with a supplement. Most supplements have a half-life of 4 or 8 hours. So if your body hasn't digested it in 4 to 8 hours, you're pretty much just pumping it full of something it's going to excrete itself.
I think a big problem with celiac disease is sometimes it's misdiagnosed because you're not actually allergic to what are you allergic to with celiac? What's it called again?
Gluten.
Okay, you're not actually allergic to gluten. You're allergic to the pesticides that they spray on the wheat that you're eating.
Yeah, and the thing with gluten allergies is they are potent, they come on strong, and they can be developed at any point in time. So there is a genetic component to those, but also it's an overexposure component. So if you happen to be a wheat eater and then all of a sudden one day you just come down with these terrible symptoms from eating wheat, it's probably chronic exposure that has now developed into an allergy. That's how people become allergic to the sunshine or allergic to the grass outside. And I know that those sound funny, but it's actually an overexposure allergy. And the best way to deal with that is to completely cut it out of your diet and then slowly start to add things back in that contain small amounts of it. So it's really an irritation and a swelling of your intestines, which is very, it doesn't sound good, and it's actually really not good for you, because remember, that's the way we absorb pretty much everything from our diet. So if we're not absorbing fluids, or if we're not absorbing nutrients, vitamins, calcium, minerals, those sorts of things, you're actually putting yourself in at risk for something we call hyponatremia, which just means low nutrition intake.
So, like, how would you, if you would compare a vegetarian's diet to someone who loves meat, how does the vegetarian get the right intake of certain nutrients? It's very hard. It's very hard to guarantee. So vegetarians have much better luck with this than vegans, because vegans don't eat any animal products either. If you're a vegetarian, most of the time you will eat eggs. Some vegetarians also eat fish products, but nothing else. So they can take in protein and calcium in a lot different ways than a vegan can, but a vegan should resort to other things like your roughages, and going right back to the tofu is a really great option. Hummus, those sorts of things. I've had vegan cupcakes before. It was, I don't know, it just didn't taste.
Some of the things don't taste right. Some of the things you can't even take a notice that they're different. So baking is often really hard too, right? Because there's oil and eggs and everything. One of the things that I found in all of my research over the years is that if you're trying to make a dessert that is low calorie and doesn't contain those things so you can please everybody, use a can of pumpkin. And I know you're thinking, what? I don't want a can of pumpkin in my cake, right?
Yeah.
But I do this all the time with brownie mix. You just buy the brownie mix in a box, and you use pumpkin, like a can of pumpkin like you would use for pumpkin pie, and a couple teaspoons of water to kind of like loosen up the pumpkin, and you mix it up and you throw it in a cake pan and you bake your brownies, and you can't tell that they're any different except they come out a little bit more cake-like than thin brownie-like. So the consistency is a little thicker, but the taste is no different.
I've never had that.
Can you do that with anything besides pumpkin?
Yes, as long as the consistency is thick enough. Now, canned pumpkin is generally pretty good for you because the sugar count is low, and the fat content is low. So especially if it's sitting in water. So if you have anything else that's low content, like you could find like a low fat or a low calorie blueberry mix or something like that, you could do that. You could stick that with a white cake for sure. You could also use a can of diet. I prefer diet because there's no calories in it, but a can of Diet Pepsi or Diet Cherry Coke or something like that with a cake mix. So if you want your white cake mix to taste like cherry, I would use Diet Cherry Coke or something like that. And literally the only thing that you put in the cake mix is that can of whatever kind of pop you choose. So it cuts down again on all the egg, the water, and it also cuts down on the oil content. So it makes it a little healthier for you.
Does your body need egg yolk?
That's another good question. So egg yolk itself, your body doesn't necessarily essentially need egg yolk. It is one of the most highly concentrated amounts of fat we take in the proper in any proper serving. So no, essentially you don't need that. It just tastes good, I think, and everybody likes it. And who doesn't like, hard-boiled eggs? Now, the egg white is a wonderful source of protein, so I would definitely suggest trying to get some egg whites in there. And if you're not so much an egg white person, or you're not so much like a plain anything, learn the value of cinnamon for sure. Cinnamon or taco seasoning or something like that to make it just a little bit more appealing. So remember, cinnamon does the body a lot of good because it's also one of what we call our hot spices. So it speeds up metabolism and it gets things going. So it's actually a wonderful thing to incorporate with anything.
Doesn't it help with pain?
Pardon me?
Doesn't cinnamon help with pain?
Yes, cinnamon is another natural anti-inflammatory, just as garlic is.
Yeah, and lower your cholesterol, right? Yeah.
You got it. Triglycerides for sure.
How important is water? Some people can't stand water.
Oh, water. All right. Our bodies are over 92% water. So you need to be taking water in some form or another, whether it's in the form of tea with a water base, water, flavored waters, even the carbonated waters are much better for you than, say, a carbonated pop. You can find low-calorie juice. Minute Maid has a 10-calorie juice out there, so 10 calories in a 6-ounce serving, so that's not too terrible out there. That's a water-based drink, but you really need water in your diet. Like I said, you're over 92% water, so you better figure out how to get that into your diet if you want to stay healthy. Just on a collegiate level, besides being an athlete, if you want to function your best, you need water because water deals with your plasma levels a little bit. And so if you ever are like sitting down at your computer and like the words start to blur together and you can't quite figure out what's going on, you just might be a little bit dehydrated. So you have to up your plasma levels, which makes the blood flow through your veins a little bit more easily.
I've read that during like when you're asleep, after you wake up, it's great to drink 200 milliliters of water to actually find out if you're hungry or if you're going through the break fast.
That's exactly right, and that's something that people forget. So generally, we recommend at least 2 bottles of water, and it's a little bit easier in the United States to think of it on an ounce level because everything is measured here in ounces. So we always recommend about 2 bottles of water before you start your day and doing whatever it is that you're going to do. So remember, we should be drinking 8 glasses of water.
A day, right?
A day. So that's 64 ounces a day. But if you do any sort of exercise, you could lose up to 2 liters per day. So we have to take more of that back in. So theoretically, Americans should probably be drinking almost 12 to 14 glasses of water a day.
Wow. What are your thoughts on like coffee or like caffeinated drinks?
All right, so this is the ever-old aged debate about caffeine. So caffeine one day is wonderful for us, and then physiologists the next day decide, oh no, caffeine is terrible. You shouldn't be drinking caffeine at all. So caffeine has short-term has shown to have short-term advantageous effects on memory and also sports performance. So if you're falling asleep in class, you might want to have something right before you go, but then follow that up with a lot of water, because caffeine itself, by its nature, is a diuretic. So it will have you excrete all the water in your system back out when you excrete that out. So you should also be looking to take that back in. So if you're going to drink it, that's fine and wonderful, but make sure you pair it with some water.
Okay.
I know when I drink like the cold coffee, because I'm not a big fan of hot coffee at all, so I just try to stay towards the frozen drinks. I know when I'm done, like I kind of crash, but not all the way, and then I eventually have to go to the bathroom. Every time.
That's kind of what happens. So caffeine, the ideal performance time for caffeine is between 20 minutes after consumption and about 2 hours is what you can get out of caffeine, depending on how much you drink. Obviously, the more you drink, the more high you're going to get from it. But just remember, as far as high as you go with caffeine, you will also crash that low due to the hydration level as well.
Okay, so if you were to, like, say, drink a cup of coffee and then follow it with a glass of water, would the crash lessen?
It would lessen a little bit because you're going to fight the dehydration effects before they happen. So you'll still get the high, but the crash will be just a little bit more gentler.
Okay.
I have a huge problem with coffee because sometimes, not all the time, just sometimes it brings on 1, anxiety attacks, and 2, I just shake.
Yeah, so remember, caffeine itself is a drug. It is a psychoactive drug, so it acts on the central nervous system. So along with the wonderful benefits of, enhanced focus or enhanced athletic performance for a slight bit of time after consumption, it is a central nervous system stimulant. So if you find yourself drinking cup after cup after cup of a cup, it's just doing its job. Really, what it's made to do is pretty much trigger neurons in your body to act. So it is literally doing its job when you start to shake, so don't panic. Just cut back the coffee content just a little bit.
I don't drink it a whole lot, but, like, my little brother started sleeping over because he was doing his GED, and he drinks coffee every single day. So I got into the habit, and any kind of conflict, panic attack. I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
Well, that's exactly what it does. So it's a stimulant. Sometimes it overstimulates, which is not a great thing. But remember, it is a drug, so you will have withdrawal when you come off of it. And when you have withdrawal, it's like withdraw from everything else. It's headaches and probably nervousness or panic attacks, shakes, hot and cold. The withdrawal headaches from caffeine are terrible.
Yeah, they are.
I'm going to stay a caffeine addict, okay?
Same.
How does, we already have drugs in our brains. How does the body react when we intake other drugs that we choose to buy?
Okay. Oh, that you choose to buy. Okay. let's pretend that isn't happening on Buffalo State campus here. So it's going to have several effects. So prescription drugs, so simply taking like an Advil or a cold and sinus pill, is going to have the intended effect. But you have to be careful what you mix it with, because when you mix it with something it shouldn't be mixed with, like alcohol, college students, it's going to have a negative effect. So if you get dizzy or nauseous or those sorts of feelings, that's the side effects of the mixture of the drugs. So you could take prescription drugs, and that's just fine and wonderful. You could take drugs to enhance sports performance. That could be fine and wonderful if gauged correctly. But the big problem is the illegal drugs. So if you are taking an illegal drug, like I know nobody on campus is, but if you're pot or ecstasy or heroin, let's talk about the club drugs. My good friend Molly for a minute here. Those all are dependent. So there's 3 classes of drugs. There's uppers, downers, and then there's all-arounders. So uppers are your CNS stimulants like caffeine, but they're also your uppers, so anything that's going to stimulate you. And then you have your downers, which is like alcohol, so it takes your central nervous system down a couple notches. And then you have your all-arounders, which is like pot and LSD. So those drugs also affect you in a different manner. So to mix an upper with a downer, you might get a neutral effect unless one dose is higher than the other, and then the higher dose would be favored. But it's the classical, let me just get a Red Bull and vodka. That is the worst idea ever. Because then you have all these crazy, energetic kids running around completely drunk. And what happens is you get the crazy high for like 12 seconds and then the drop and the drop for the next 12 hours. The balance isn't quite there. It was a good way to make a lot of money and have a lot of fun quickly if you could manage to have fun in that 12 seconds before you crashed. But that's generally just not the best mixture of drugs.
That was the big problem with Four Loko.
Mm-hmm. Which is now off the market.
No, they still have it.
Didn't they have to take something out?
Ingredients out.
Oh, did they have to take ingredients out?
Yeah.
Because I know it went out and then it came back in
real quick. Yeah, that did not last on the market. That was quite dangerous. That's actually in our psychoactive drugs book. That is for sure.
The drink?
Yeah, we talked about that in our psychoactive. Psychoactive drugs with me was a great class. I brought wine to class, cookies, hot fudge. They're all drugs.
Do you still do it?
Cookies are drugs.
I don't teach it this semester.
You should make it. You should make it a general foundation class.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I know. I had to lock my desk for a long time because I had Captain and Coke in there. Everyone's like, "What's in there?" Can't tell you. Can't tell you.
Oh my
surprise!
It's a secret. It's my cabinet.
Did you say cookies were a drug?
As long as they've got chocolate in them, cookies are a drug.
Okay.
Tea's a drug itself too.
Oh wow. What kind of chocolate?
Stimulant, CNS upper.
So I know dark chocolate is healthy. Why? Why is it?
Because dark chocolate actually has antioxidants. So again, too much of a good thing is not wonderful, but if you had the choice over just regular milk chocolate or the choice of dark chocolate would be the theoretically healthier choice. So it's got a lot of antioxidants in there. So when you have free radicals in your body, what happens is the drugs that are in that chocolate come and kind of attack them and take them inside of those cells, and then you get rid of them. So all those free radicals, they happen from sun, they happen from pollution, from the air, pollution from the water, and just biochemical reactions that happen in your body.
I didn't know it was a drug. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, so
I'm a drug addict.
But doesn't it also help with heart disease, like red wine?
Okay, again, so follows the same premise. Too much of a good thing's not wonderful, but just enough is just the right amount. So yes, the antioxidants do wonderful things for heart and muscle in general, because it takes away all the byproducts of the natural reactions that happen in our body that our body is not as efficient as possible getting rid of themselves. So it's wonderful to have antioxidants in our body to do that for us.
Okay, I know that you can tell if you're eating correctly or not by the color of your urine. Can you go into details?
Oh, yes, the color of your urine. So if you haven't experienced this yet, the color of your urine will change based on what you eat. So if you take in a lot of alcohol, it's probably going to be real dark, brownish, okay? If you're eating a lot of spinach, it's probably going to be tinted a little bit green. Vitamin C or carrots will turn it pretty orange. And if you are highly hydrated or at a natural hydration standpoint, pee should actually be pretty clear. It should not be colored. So if you're looking down on that toilet bowl and you have colored pee, something is going on.
I never saw orange. Which is good.
Oh, then you probably haven't taken too much vitamin C, which is another health point we should talk about as we go into cold season. So remember, vitamin C, again, just like everything else, is best taken in naturally in your diet. So you can take it in a whole bunch of fruits, namely oranges and tangerines, and the other thing that looks like an orange that I can't remember.
Tangerine. Wait. Peach?
Nope, forgot it.
She said peach. Is it peach?
Nope, not a peach. I'll think of it.
I always thought that the pee changed colors based on what you're drinking, because I know it's supposed to be clear, and it can be like an orangish brown when you're severely dehydrated.
That's that too. So based on whatever you're taking in, kind of is a good indicator of what's coming out.
You can usually tell if you're hydrated by the color of your pee.
Yep,
yeah,
that's for sure.
Because I know, like, after binge drinking, it's just like...
It's a bad idea, isn't it? Yeah, for sure. It does more damage than good. And you guys are getting old. You do not recover like you did when you were in high school. Good God, girlfriend. By the time you're legal, you should stop drinking.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, by the time you get to the age you can drink, you just don't have money anymore to drink.
Right.
Mama said, Dad said, no, you're going to start drinking, you're going to start paying, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
what
rough
can you...
being 21.
It's no, it's okay. It's not
Okay,
that
you
bad.
said?
It's
Okay,
not
good.
that
That's good to
bad.
know. That's good to know.
What can you say about body image in the media versus reality?
Oh, the media is nasty. Let me just tell you, we have a hyper focus on body image, not only just females, but males as well. So you can't watch a commercial at night without seeing some sort of naked man or half-dressed-ish woman. And that all has a serious effect on the media, because then we're essentially bred to believe that that's the way we need to look, and that's not the way we need to look. Our goal should be to be healthy for whatever our body type is. So healthy nutrition, healthy hydration, healthy workout for us. So you shouldn't ever be comparing yourself to anybody else. And things like social media are just absolutely relentless with how you should look and how you should act and what you should wear and how your makeup should be. And that is really doing a bad thing for a mental image. So I find that women, my population I work with here at Buff State when I do some counseling, is the women between 18 and 25 have the worst body image ever. And that unfortunately correlates to a lot of the mental health problems, because at 18 to 25, if you're going to develop any mental health problem, it's generally coming out at that time. So if you pair all the stuff that's going on in the media plus something bad that happened in your life, maybe a breakup or something like that, it's a good chance that it's going to be a recipe for disaster. So self-image, self-confidence, self-assurance, your self-achievement, self-worth, those types of things are all affected by the media, and unfortunately it's generally in the negative direction. Very few times do we ever see exposure in the media where somebody who's not considered perfect ever has an impact on someone. So that's unfortunate, and I think we need to change that, but it does have a huge impact.
For now, it's like in the media, if you don't look good, it's like it could bring your whole day down. Or if you look on someone else's page,
Exactly.
you probably know them in real life, and like that's not really how you look. And it's sad that it's come to that point where you judge someone based off of their profile picture.
But it happens every day.
Yeah.
It happens every day, and it seems to be a competition of who's got the best selfie or who's got the best Ussie up on their page today. And if you have one hair out of place, and it's really bugging you, thinking somebody else look perfect on their page could really just knock your day down. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I will say that I was checking out Girl Meets World. It just came on Netflix. So I was watching it, and like Topanga, the way she looks now, she's not the standard like super stick thin like people that's in like Cosmo. Like her figure, like it's nice, and it's nice to see it on an actual TV show.
She's got a mom body now, right?
Yeah.
See, she's fit. Yeah. She works with a personal trainer. I mean, I'm not saying you have to, but hire me if you are, clearly. But she's healthy. And I think that really needs to be the image out there, that healthy comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes and colors. And we have to be accepting of what is healthy, not what you look like compared to what this picture looks like. And I know there's a lot of controversy on whether you like the U.S. women's soccer team or not, but I think they did a wonderful job depicting on all the magazine covers all the different body shapes and types and styles, and I think that you really have to just grasp that everybody's different, and that's okay, and there's no one mold you have to fit into. We are not a cookie cutter society, and you have to be okay with that.
Can we go over a little bit about the things that we can do, that you do, to help the students on Buffalo State campus?
Sure. So first of all, I have an open door policy. So if you ever need to come talk about just about anything, you come knock on my door and walk right in. I have students in my office every semester. I am pregnant. I don't know who the dad is. I'm not feeling good. I think I have depression. I have an STD. I see all sorts of things in my office, and it's because I have an open door, and I'm straight up with the students, and I will get them the help they need. So there's that aspect of it. But on campus, I do teach spin. And I do teach kickboxing, and I am part of the recreation program that's on the website, so you can take any of the classes there. But also I have my own studio, so it was a dream of mine when I was very young to have my own studio, and that just came to fruition for me about 2 years ago. And I have a personal training studio on the corner of Main and Transit in Williamsville. It's called Fusion Fitness and Dance, so I do a lot of personal training there. I do a lot of group training. I do dance there. And also most recently I've got into 2 special populations, so kids, so elite sports performance for kids, and stress release for kids. So I do baby yoga now because kids at age of 7 already have testing anxiety, and that's dangerous. We can't have that in our society. And I also have just breached the population of the advanced age people. So now I'm working with advanced age people because people are living longer and need to stay fit because you have these wonderful drugs that are keeping them alive longer. So that seemed to be an oversight. Nobody was really catering to that in my area. So I just picked that up. So I have a lot of fun classes for college kid age, and then I have the babies, and then I have the older people. I used to have a really strong mom population, but then it just seemed like the economy went down and moms had to go back to work. So there went my mom population.
Let's do it. I'm a mom.
All right, let's do it, girlfriend. Come on in anytime. I'm heading there after this.
So the things that you do actually on campus, the things that students don't actually know isn't that funded by an activity fee?
Yes.
Yeah.
So those rec classes are funded by your activity fee. So all you need to do is memorize your banner number and come sign in. And that's the
or even
cost
bring
to you.
in your card.
Or you could bring in your card, yeah, for sure. So keep in mind the rec classes are not actually in Houston Gym. So Houston Gym's when you walk in Houston and go up the stairs and it's off to the right. That is a wonderful, beautiful, renovated facility with absolutely wonderful state-of-the-art equipment run by our soccer coach. But our classes are not inside that facility, so we have to go down the stairs when you walk in the main entrance to the multi-purpose room for yoga and Zumba, and my kickboxing is in there. And then the bigger yoga classes, the student-athlete yoga that I also teach, and the spinning classes are downstairs on the sub-level, okay? So it's ground literally 0. Most people don't know it exists. You just have to keep going down secret staircases.
Yeah.
So to find the secret staircase past the multi-purpose room, head towards the bangle and take the first staircase on the left. Go downstairs and walk all the way to the end of the hall when you can't walk anymore. It's a secret. Shh, don't tell.
I think they should have like child care services at gyms now, because I think those are women that have kids. They're less likely to head to the gym because they don't have anybody to watch the kids.
So coming from a corporate fitness background, there are some gyms out there that do have it, but some in the recent times have gotten rid of it because it's not a huge moneymaker and they end up spending more in having somebody staff that facility than they do in what they're bringing in for that facility. But I agree, which is how I started it off with kids yoga. So I did yoga in the park this summer, and I had more kids that came than adults. So I said, hey, why don't I do something with this?
It was daycare.
It's the entrepreneur in me.
The parents just said, let's take you to the gym class, and they went to go handle some business.
That's exactly right. I'm not sure where Mom went in that time, but I got your kid. And I got him addicted. That's what counts.
A good kind of addiction.
That's right, a healthy addiction.
One last thing, and then that'll be it for the session. What are your thoughts about Planned Parenthood?
Oh my good. Planned Parenthood, I think, is an absolute lifesaver. I understand there's a lot of controversy going on with it right now, but when you get right down to the basics of Planned Parenthood, it is pretty much free or extremely low cost for anybody who needs it. So keep in mind that the high school and college population is generally who we have perceived as needing it and are using it to its fullest extreme. But there are adults that walk in there all the time to utilize those services. And keep in mind, it's all confidential. They have to practice HIPAA rights, so it can't talk about it with anybody. And it offers a great learning environment to learn what your options are. So maybe in the case of the debate about abortion, maybe abortion's not the best option for you, or maybe it is, but there are trained counselors that will help you walk through that process and kind of helping you evaluate on a mental standpoint what you think you can handle. I have sent many a student to Planned Parenthood for more than just the free condoms, although those are wonderful with that big bucket when you walk in the door. They still have those. So if you need free condoms, head to Planned Parenthood, I guess. But it's absolutely essential because there is not really a lot of other options, especially with the whole insurance thing as it is now for kids. Abortion is not cheap if you need it, and if there's not a Planned Parenthood option, I think that's going to have a severe negative impact
on the population.
Population.
I think the suicide rate will go up.
Suicide rate might go up, but you're going to have a lot of babies in garbage cans, I think. And that's not great as well because there are wonderful people out there in this world that can't have their own kids that would love to adopt somebody else's kids. So keep in mind, if you end up having the baby and then deciding you don't want it, or maybe you decide at day one you don't want the baby, but you can't terminate the life of the baby, adoption is another wonderful aspect, is another venue to go to. You can have open adoption where you can keep in touch with the new parents, or if you think that's just going to be emotionally too taxing, you could have a closed adoption and kiss your baby goodbye and know that somebody else has a loving heart and will raise your child for you.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that is 100% yes, we absolutely need Planned Parenthood. End of story.
I agree. All right, that was a wonderful session in Power Hour. I want to thank you for coming and giving us a lot of information.
Perfect.
Can you tell us your name again, just so people are listening?
Shannon Hochwater.
Okay. So look her up, females that are on campus, if you need to talk about anything.
That's right.
Open door.
Open door. Houston 104C.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.